wow, the dowel pin has not been done and it is almost out. We're gonna try it just for the sake of creating some controversy. Welcome back to the Decent Garage and welcome back to another video on Fat and Sassy. So we're doing a couple things to this truck. Well, not a couple, a lot of things to this truck to prepare it for a couple road trips we have in the next few months. First thing we need to do are new wheels and tires. So those of you with a keen eye may have noticed these in a previous video, but Kenda sent out 2 sets of tires for Fat and Sassy, and we're gonna do some testing on them. They sent out a set of their Kenda Klever AT tires, and then they just launched a Kenda Klever AT HD tire specifically for diesel trucks that tow. So our plan is to mount up the Kenda Klever AT tires, the original composite, see how we like them, see how they ride, see how they tow. And I'm gonna do a full separate video on comparing these two, what the differences are, what the similarities are, and why you may choose one versus the other. So I've got Strong Kevin on the way. He has a tire changing machine in a trailer. So he's gonna swap out the tires for us. We got new wheels, so I'll show you those as well. This truck should look awesome with this new setup. All right, we got all our Kenda tires. Got wheels for the OG crew cab. There's tires for Fat and Sassy, tires for the OG crew cab. Wheels for Fat and Sassy. We got Kevin here. He's gonna get them all mounted up.
All right, well, Tim has entrusted me with the tire and wheel changeover. I don't know why, but let me show you where we're at. So we just got this one all mounted. I'm gonna wait to get the hubcap on there just until we're all done. But this might be hard to see. There, we have a little bit more offset than the stalkers. But these look like a sweet set of tires. They're all siped up nice. They're supposedly 3-peak mount snowflake rated. Got some good looking classic 8-hole aluminum wheels on there. So let's get the rest of them on there. We might take it for a test drive before he gets back. So here we go. Good to me.
So I've put probably a couple 100 miles on the tires so far, and I mean, I like them. They ride definitely softer than what was on here. One thing I don't like, which is not the tire's fault, it's just where I live with a bunch of gravel and stuff. But having a more aggressive tread pattern gets a lot of rocks in here. As soon as I get out on the pavement, you hear them kick up, but that's not a big deal. They seem to be wearing really well, so I want to get out and get some towing footage, but before we do that, we have something we need to do to the truck. So these second gens are notorious for loosey-goosey steering. So I actually, a couple months ago, bought a blue top steering gear box, which is, in my opinion, the best steering box out there on the market. I haven't installed it yet because of the move, kind of threw all that off. We're going to pull the front of the truck here into the shop, replace the steering gearbox. That way, the steering's not an issue when we're assessing these tires for towing. So let's get that changed out. So I've never done one of these on a second gen, but I can't imagine it's much harder than the first gen. The only difference is the box is on the inside of the frame versus the outside. We do have our new 12,000 pound lift here in the shop. But as you can see, it is not installed yet, nor is it ready to install. I'm working on putting up all the electrical boxes, running wiring, so as you can see right here. So then we can get the lift installed and powered up. But for now, we're gonna do this steering gearbox change on the ground. So here is the blue top box. We got the old one out. This I'll send it in as a core. Let's put the new one in. All right, we got it in. Here is the result of pretty much any time you do anything underneath the 12 valve. We do need to get in here, and we're going to do it real quick actually, probably in this video, and do the KDP, timing cover, front seal, get rid of all these oil leaks. But she's in there. I don't know if you can see it. There it is, new blue top steering gearbox. Everything's hooked up. Now I learned a trick from, his name's Dylan. He's worked on my trucks a couple times. He's local here. He showed me this product. It's called cross check. And what you do, especially on steering components, because you want to make sure that nothing comes loose. So we're going to put some of this on. Basically we're going to mark the nut for the pitman arm because we loosened it to make sure it doesn't move at all. You just put a line of it across there, that'll dry up, and that way essentially it dries up and hardens, so if that moves it'll crack the paint, and so you'll know. So that's kind of nice. Anyways, we got to bleed the steering box and go take it for a test drive. Bleeding the power steering box and pump can take a long time, but be patient because you do need to get all the air out of the system. So we're not going to go far because I got to go clean up and stuff, but I just want to see if all the play's out of the steering wheel. Well, there's zero play compared to what it was. We're only going 25 miles an hour, so let's get out onto a paved road and then we'll try it there. Here we are at the paved road. I mean, already I can tell it's very, very good. I think we still have a little air because there's some whining. Seatbelt, seatbelt. Man, yeah, before this was like herding this thing down the road. Typical Dodge steering. Oh, there's a deer. So I would say blue top steering gearbox. We'll see the longevity of it over time, but for now, it's awesome. So the steering gearbox feels great, but I want to do another maintenance item to Fat and Sassy before we really test out the new tires and take it on a long trip. I don't know if the KDP has been done on this engine, so I'm going to do that. I think the front main seal's leaking heavily anyway, so what I want to do, I'm going to pressure wash inside the engine bay and the front of it first. We'll pull it in. You can see it's already been sitting in here. And we'll do the front main seal and the KDP. Make sure that's all good and done, ready to go, so that that doesn't drop out and ruin our front gears. So I've done the KDP on many trucks on the channel. It's a fairly simple project. It just takes getting into where you need to get into. So we got to take the coolant reservoir off, I think that's wiper fluid, this other reservoir, the fan shroud, the fan pulley, and the harmonic balancer, and the oil fill tube, and then we'll be in there and we can take the cover off of the timing case. So this is a project I actually meant to tackle a couple months ago, but then the move to the new shop took place. So I've got the gasket and everything, and I think I threw everything for Fat and Sassy in the back of the OG crew cab. There's Goldmember. Got a ton of stuff for Fat and Sassy that I was about to install, but then we decided to move. Oops. Oh yeah, but we got a lot of stuff in here. Okay, we got the fan shroud out, the fan, the coolant, and the wiper fluid reservoir. That was pretty easy. I made a mess of coolant down there, so I'm going to clean that up. But You can see how much access we have here now. I'm actually going to back the truck out and pressure wash the front again now that we have more access. Also, you've probably seen me use this before to remove the fan. This tool is priceless. I'll put a link to it in the description below from my Amazon affiliate account. It's totally worth the money. Every single penny, it's worth it. So it makes getting the fan off of these 12 valves super easy. All right, we're ready to take the cover off. Here we go. They use sealant on one side, but not the other, which might be, it looks like it's been leaking a bunch down here. I like to use the right stuff, which is a brand. It's a sealant, and I just use a little bit on both sides of the gasket, and that'll prevent that from leaking. So let's check it out down here. So just inspecting it down here, as you should do when you have this open. First of all, oh wow, the dowel pin has not been done and it is almost out. I'll see if I can get you a good view of that. We do not have a groove on our crank right here, which is nice. And everything looks well lubricated. We changed the oil in this truck a couple months ago with the Rotella T6, which is what I love to run. Rotella loves working with me on these trucks. I did notice we don't need to put any more in here, but my stock on the shelf is running low. So let me show you this KDP, and then we're gonna run to Walmart and stock back up because they are having a sale on the Rotella T6, which is the stuff I love to use. So if it's on sale, let's stock up. So there you can see that right there is the killer dowel pin, and it should be seated back in there. Sorry about the strobing, that's because the flashlight, but that is coming out. It is almost out. So what we're going to do, we're going to tap it in and then peen the edges with a punch so it doesn't walk back out. So here's what we're going to try. I got this little tiny socket. So I tapped it a bunch with that socket and hammer, and the most I could get it to go is flush. And I know some of the 12 valves are different with how the KDP sits. Some of them it goes in and recesses a little bit, some of them it doesn't. So apparently this is a year that doesn't. So what I did, I found some scrap metal in my scrap metal bin. We're gonna cut this off and just make a little tab with this. So let me do that, and then I'll show you how to tab it, and then we also gotta do our case bolts. They're also known to fall out, so we got to pull those out, Loctite them, torque them down to spec. Then we can button all this back up together. Okay, there we go. Here is my little homemade tab right there. It does not have to be anything special. I've done this many different ways. I've gotten a metal coat hanger and cut part of it out and made it into a loop with a little piece sticking out. Just has to go through the bolt and tab the killer dowel pin. That's it. It's that simple. We're gonna Loctite this, throw this in there, and torque it down to spec. There we go. There's our little tab. And we got that torqued down. I go to 18 foot-pounds, and blue Loctite is what I do. Some may do it different, but that's what I do. So now what we have to do, there's a couple more case bolts behind these gears, so we have to turn the engine over, bar it over, find each of those, pull them out, Loctite them, torque them to spec. But I've got the little girls out here begging to go on a Jeep ride. So we're gonna go on a Jeep ride real quick, and we will button this up tomorrow, or maybe later tonight, we'll see. If we're gonna go on a Jeep ride, let's run to Walmart and get some more of that Rotella T6 to stock up the shelves. And we got our oil stock all refilled. Thanks to Walmart, rollback prices, had to stock up. So we're back out here on Fat and Sassy, and like I said, we got our KDP tabbed. I went through, I torqued them all down to spec. They were not loose at all, actually. The torque wrench popped off right away. So we're good to go. So we're gonna put our front main seal back on our timing cover, our new front main seal, and then put the gasket on and start putting things back together. So we got the timing cover all cleaned up, but I think I found why it was leaking. Let me show you this and see if you can see it. Right down here, it looks like at some point the harmonic balancer was loose or something got caught between it and it came down and hit this edge of the cover and bent it down. And so there should be no gap right there, but there is a gap. You know, if you look up here, it's perfectly flat. So even though this cover looks like plastic, it's this Cummins beige color, it's actually metal. So I'm gonna get my body hammers and see if we can make that surface perfect again. If not, we'll find another cover, but I think we can salvage this one. Here on the mating surface, you can really see right here, it's been dented, which I'm not too worried about that. What I'm worried about is this ridge right here is causing it so the gasket's not mating correctly. It looks like it got a little bit of that too, so we're gonna try and bend those back and get this to be a flat surface. All right, it's pretty good. I'm gonna clean this up with a Scotch-Brite pad, just some of the coatings coming off, but more importantly, it is sitting flush when I put pressure on this side of the case. So it's not perfectly even from the whole side to side, but that's probably how most of them are. But what I want is that to sit flush so it seals, and we'll just use maybe a little bit of extra silicone when we seal this up, but that turned out pretty good. Well, I've got bad news. I mean, it's not horrible news, don't worry, but let me show you this. I opened up my timing case kit, timing case seal and front main seal, brought it over to fit it on, and this is a P-pump truck, but this set is for a VE pump truck, it looks like. It does not fit. So I'm gonna have to order one. We're gonna have to wait a few days for one to get here, but that's not a big deal. Reinstalling this is gonna be easier than taking it apart. We just have to put our front main seal in, put our gasket on, and then put everything back on that we took off, so not a big deal. Okay, we cannot let a video end this way. Ordering a new gasket would take about a week, and I don't want to wait that long. And I remembered, I actually didn't order a gasket for this on purpose. This was months and months ago. There is controversy about this, but a lot of people don't run a gasket on this timing cover. They just run RTV, and they've had good luck with it, supposedly. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the front main seal in, we're gonna do a bead of RTV, get it nice and thin, spread out. We're gonna run it like that. So let's hear it in the comments. Are we gonna run into issues? Is it gonna leak in no time? What do you think is gonna happen? We're gonna try it just for the sake of creating some controversy. Well, we successfully tabbed the killer dowel pin. We made sure all the timing case bolts were tight. We got everything buttoned back up. That took me all of 45 minutes to get everything put back together. Let me know, is that silicone gasket gonna hold, or should we have put an actual gasket in there with it? We'll see what happens. Let me know also, what do you think of the tires and the wheels? I think they look awesome. So next video on Fat and Sassy, we're gonna be installing gauges, working on some of the interior and a couple more things. Again, prepping this truck for a road trip. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you guys in the next one.